just gone 5 minutes past 9 on Saturday, the 25th of August. A very good morning and welcome to the agenda. A special broadcast as we are covering the special official funeral of the late Mazondeni Veronica Sobukwe. I'm Alicia Ntlantla Jali. Let's look at our leading story. The funeral service of anti-apartheid struggle stalwart Mama Zondeni Veronica is currently underway in Graaf-Reinet in the Eastern Cape. She was the widow of the late PAC founder Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe. Mama Sobukwe has been afforded a special official funeral category 2. Let's cross live to our reporter Iviwe Poti, who's attending the funeral. Iviwe, a very good morning to you. What is the latest at the funeral? Have the proceedings begun at the stage?
A very good morning to you too, Alicia. Definitely, it's been a very early morning here in Graaf-Reinet. Proceedings actually started around about 6 o'clock this morning when the body made its way to the home for the last time. As you recall, that there's that prayer service that is there held for the family to ensure that they're strong enough for the proceedings that continue throughout the day, and obviously the religious significance that comes with that as well. We will also remember that where we are right now, the Methodist Church. I'm just going to move out of shot and ask cameraman Blom to show you a bit more. Where we are right now is the Methodist Church where Umama Sobukwe was actually attending throughout the years, and which has also been named after Utata Robert Sobukwe. So straight after they left the home where we were earlier on this morning, they then came here to have a service which is also in significance in terms of when one has been a long-standing member of the church, that they do have their last service held here at the church. Obviously not taking away from the provincial funeral that will be taking place, which is set to start at about 9:30. However, dignitaries have made their way here. We have seen the Deputy President of South Africa, Mabuza, he's here, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Ngakula, and Nqesi, he's also here. I did hear the priest greeting former First Lady Umamumbeki as well. I haven't been able to see her. However, we also have seen members, leadership members of the PAC and former elderly members of the PAC, such as Utatu Mlambo as well. So there's quite a number of people that have made their way here. The church inside is very full. Family members, community members, just in general. There was a bus that we saw from Forte University as well. So I think people have also made their way from various parts of the province. You will remember last week, Wednesday, there was memorial services that were held throughout the country in terms of paying tribute to a woman whom was an icon, a leader, and a great activist in her own capacity. You'll remember that Umama is respected also for her contribution to the struggle. You'll remember around April earlier on this year, she was ordered a Lutuli in silver in terms of the contribution that she has given to the freedom struggle of South Africa. So that's what's been happening right now. We have heard members of the church specifically speaking inside, saying in terms of the type of person that she was a mother. She had an open door policy. She made sure that the elderly here in Graaf-Reinet always had something to eat. This is through her old age center, which she was running here from the church, and as well as how she was running, a communal bus which ensured that people made their way to clinics and hospitals. So we're not only speaking of someone who was resilient and someone who was strong and someone who fought against the apartheid government in terms of writing letters at the time where her husband was incarcerated, but we're speaking of someone who during the time when her husband was incarcerated, around 1960 to 1969, was not only left as a single mother of 4, but as well as a mother of a whole community. And I think that is why a lot of people have actually, through the years called her Mother of Azania, because that's exactly what she has done. She's mothered a whole community, specifically those who come from poverty. Alicia?
Absolutely. Look, Iviwe, have you heard any commitments, be it from the PAC or the government or the many dignitaries that are in attendance, in terms of them committing to honor her with a monumental tribute since her passing?
Alicia, I think in terms of those commitments that we'll hear maybe from government or the PAC, that will come later when we are in the third phase of the program, which is then at the Botanical Gardens, which is the provincial funeral, which has been granted by the President of South Africa. But I do know that the cemetery where she will be laid is one of the, she'll be next to Tatu Robert Sobukwe, which was officially named heritage site, I think in 2014. I stand to be corrected, but I definitely think it was in 2014. So she will be laid at the heritage site as well. But in terms of some of the things that people have come out calling for during the memorial services, such as the community of Graaff-Reinet, asking for the hospital here in Graaff-Reinet to be named after her. You'll remember also the hospital where she was a trainee nurse in the Eastern Cape as well, in Alice. Members at Forte University at that memorial service were also calling for that hospital to be renamed after her. I think because of the role that she's played as a nurse to the community and as a mother to South Africa.
You know, while we're speaking of the program, Iviwe, do talk to us about this official Category 2 funeral. What exactly does it entail?
Well, Alicia, what we do know right now is some of the rules that were given over on Wednesday, specifically to the PAC and members of the community as well, was that please, we need to respect that this is, a provincial funeral, which is part of the state. So flags of the PAC, etc., should be on the outskirts of the botanical gardens, and inside Umama's casket will be wrapped in a South African flag, and a South African flag will be at the stadium as well. We know that the eulogy will be delivered by the Deputy President of South Africa. The Master of Ceremonies will be Umamunqakula, and there'll be some speeches also that will be happening. There'll be tributes from the grandchildren. There'll be tributes from elderly people of the PAC. They are trying to stick to time to ensure that everything does go according to plan. But thus far, this is what we know. Security is very tight. Everyone needed to accredit themselves in order to be seated at the proper sections within the botanical gardens. Even where we are right now, security is very tight, obviously because the Deputy President is here as well. But thus far, everything has been running smoothly and according to plan.
All right, and Iviwe, how far are we in the program? Has the funeral officially begun, or you still waiting for other dignitaries to arrive?
According to the program that we have, the government has been working very closely with the family and the PAC. So there are about 4 stages of the funeral. So we've had the first stage. We're now in the second phase. We're then going to go into the third phase, which is said to start about 9:30, and then thereafter we'll go to the cemetery. So in terms of the official program actually starting, when it comes to the provincial funeral, that will then start at 9:30.
All right, and Iviwe, last we spoke, I actually inquired about whether or not there were condolence books that other people from all across the country that aren't necessarily in the Eastern Cape can actually go and sign. What can you tell us about that now?
In terms of the condolences that have come through, some that we've seen online and some of the messages that have come through to the families, Vaal University has been very vocal also in terms of granting Umama an honorary doctorate, which they were in communication with her at the time. You'll remember there's also a museum that they're running at the Vaal University to pay tribute to the Sobukwes as well. We do know all the various political parties have sent their tributes as well. The Nelson Mandela Foundation have also sent their tributes. So there's quite a number of tributes that have come through up until this time that have come to the family. But you will remember, Alicia, at this time we need to grant the family a lot of respect in terms of the emotions that they're going through, because they've lost, the rock of the family, and the elderly person whom was at the age of 91, but who still, according to her family, woke up at the early hours of 4 o'clock in the morning to do her gardening work. So as much as she was ill and she was suffering from illnesses, but she was still very active in her old age. So the family, I think, also is taken aback a little, but those are some of the things that they've said to us in terms of they are very aware of the messages of support that have come throughout the whole country, even internationally. But obviously at this time can't really give us a lot of detail in terms of who is saying what, but they are very thankful in terms of the support that they've garnered thus far.
If you will keep checking up with you in terms of the developments out there in Graaff-Reinet. That is our reporter there, Iviwe Bodi, live to us at the funeral of Umama Zondeni Veronica, which is currently underway in Graaff-Reinet in the Eastern Cape. Let's now cross live to our other report.